In the far edge of the Veil Nebula, where stardust shimmered like rivers of light across the black sky, a human pilot named Liam Harlow drifted alone in his ship, the Odysseus. The ship hummed softly, a lonely echo through the cockpit. Liam leaned back in his seat, staring blankly at the swirling clouds of cosmic dust outside. His mission was simple: chart unknown star systems for Earth's expansion program. But inside, he was tired. Tired of space. Tired of silence. Tired of running from a past that never stopped chasing him. Then it happened. His control screen blinked red, a piercing alarm screaming to life. A distress signal, loud, broken, and in a language the ship didn't recognize. Liam leaned forward, instantly alert. The signal wasn't from Earth or any allied species. The coordinates pointed to a forbidden planet, Quora 7. It was marked off limits on every galactic map. A dead zone, a cursed place. No one went there. No one returned. But the signal, it was desperate. It wasn't a call for help. It was a scream. Liam hesitated only a moment. Something inside him, maybe guilt or instinct, made him steer the ship toward it. As he descended into the planet's dark atmosphere, the sky turned violet, then black. Lighting cracked sideways across clouds. The surface came into view, a dry, cracked land covered in glowing stones and twisted trees. In the distance, fire. A ship had crash-landed. Not human. Sleek. Alien. Smoke rose from its broken body like a ghost fleeing the wreck. Liam landed his ship a short distance away and stepped out. His boots sank into the soft ground. The air was hot, almost choking. He moved quickly toward the wreck, weapon in hand. He didn't expect survivors. But then he saw her. Crawling. A figure dragged herself across the ground, leaving behind a trail of blood that shimmered gold under the strange sky. Her body was slim, her skin an odd gray-blue that glowed faintly. Her hair was silver, braided and tangled. Her eyes, large, glowing with fear and pain, locked onto him. Liam froze. The woman's lips moved. He couldn't hear her at first. But then, through the translator chip in his ear, her voice came through. "Please, marry me," she said. She collapsed at his feet. Liam blinked, thinking he'd misheard. She was shaking, skin glowing brighter now, her hands clinging weakly to his leg. "Dilly, what did you say?" he asked. "Marry me," she whispered again. "Please, I beg you." Liam knelt down, trying to check her wounds, confused and cautious. "You're hurt. I can help. But why would you say that?" She clutched his hand. "No time. They're coming." A loud sound ripped through the air. Liam turned his head fast. A low rumble, like thunder, but closer. Dark shapes were moving in the sky. Ships, sleek, fast, armed. Not his. He grabbed her by the arm gently and lifted her. She was light, almost weightless. He rushed back toward the Odysseus, with her limping beside him, her breath ragged. Inside the ship, he laid her down on the medical bed. Her suit was torn, revealing smooth alien skin marked with glowing symbols. The ship's autodoc scanned her quickly. Unknown species, but alive. Blood loss, internal damage. The machine started to heal her. Liam paced the small cabin, his heart racing. What just happened? Who was she? And why did she beg for marriage? She opened her eyes slowly, and her voice came softer now, but clearer. "You are human." "Yes," he said. "Name's Liam. What's yours?" "Alira," she said. "Of the House Velnar. Former princess." He stared at her. "Princess." She nodded weakly. "I escaped. I refused the bonding. They hunt me now. If they catch me, I die." "What bonding?" he asked. Alira coughed, a soft, painful sound. "A forced marriage. Political. They want to use me. My refusal means war." "So you ran." "I did. But now, there is only one way. If I marry an outsider, a human, I can't be taken. It's law. Sacred. Liam stared at her like she was insane. You expect me to marry you? Just like that? She nodded slowly, her eyes wet. Yes, please. If I don't, they will come. They will kill me. Then your name will be next, for helping me. Outside, the dark ships hovered above the clouds, scanning the ground. Liam didn't answer. His mind was spinning. She had dropped to her knees. She had begged him. For what? For safety, for survival, or something else. He had seen fear before. In war. In himself. But her fear wasn't just for her life. It was deeper, older. And now, it had landed in his lap. What would he do? The air trembled. A warning siren buzzed. They had been spotted. Liam looked at Alira. Her body was still broken. But her spirit, it burned behind her frightened eyes. Strap in, he said. Where are we going? She asked. Anywhere but here. As he powered the ship, Alira whispered something to herself in her language. But one word, the translator caught. Chosen. Then the ship rose, the sky above glowing red, and the hunt had begun. The ship shook violently as Liam pushed the throttle forward. Alira's breathing was shallow beside him, her pale fingers gripping the edge of the console, as if she could hold the world in place through sheer will. Behind them, the sky flared with light. A pair of alien hunter ships broke through the clouds, fast and silent like silver arrows. Their weapons warmed, glowing bright with deadly heat. Liam cursed under his breath. He didn't know what he had gotten himself into, but there was no turning back now. Alira leaned closer, her voice weak but urgent. They will fire. If you stay in the atmosphere, you will die. Thanks for the tip, Liam muttered, jerking the ship upward. Any other helpful advice, Princess? Her eyes met his, full of silent warning. You mock me, but you do not understand what you've done. He tightened his grip on the controls. No, I don't. Maybe because you fell out of the sky and asked me to marry you before telling me your name. Alira looked away, her face unreadable. The blue glow in her skin dimmed a little, as if she was losing strength or hope. You are the closest human vessel in this sector, she said softly. But there is more. My people, our laws, are ancient, older than most remember. When a royal kneels and asks for union, it activates a treaty. It binds. Binds what? Liam asked. Your species. Mine. For peace. He blinked. So, you're saying if I marry you, I accidentally stop a war? No. If you don't marry me, I start one, she said, her voice breaking at the end. The hunter ships fired. A flash of red lit up the sky behind them. Liam swerved hard, the ship rattling as one of the blasts grazed the shields. Alira cried out and fell to the floor. He jumped from his seat and helped her up. Her skin felt colder now. You're bleeding again, he said. I need rest, but not yet, she whispered. He lifted her carefully and placed her on the medical bed again. The autodoc hummed, scanning her vitals. She looked up at him with tired eyes. I'm not lying, Liam. He nodded slowly, unsure of what to believe. Tell me the truth, then. All of it. Now. Alira closed her eyes for a moment, then began. My name is Alira of Elnar, daughter of Queen Alira, ruler of the Sirith Dominion. My mother is dead. I was to inherit her throne, but the elders forced me into a bonding agreement with Lord Voss. He is powerful, cruel, a conqueror. They wanted our union to ensure loyalty, but I refused. You ran, Liam said. Yes, and by doing so, I broke a law older than I am. Now, I'm a traitor. But if I bond with a human, it resets the treaty. Voss cannot claim me. The Dominion cannot kill me. That's why I need you. Liam rubbed his forehead. So I'm not just a guy with a ship. I'm your get-out-of-jail card. "No," she said. "You're the only hope I have left." The ship rocked again. Warning lights blinked across the screen. "They're still chasing us," Liam said, moving back to the cockpit. "I can lose them in the asteroid drift ahead." He pushed the ship faster. The engines groaned under the strain. The asteroid drift was a dense field of rocks, ancient remains of a shattered moon. Pilots avoided it for a reason. It was deadly. But Liam had flown through it once before. He could do it again. The hunter ships followed. One rock smashed into the edge of the shields. Sparks flew across the control panel. Alira stood, wobbling, holding onto the wall. "You will not survive if you enter deeper." "I don't need to survive long," Liam said. "Just long enough to make them give up." She stared at him, studying him carefully. "Why are you helping me?" He didn't answer right away. His eyes were locked on the scanners. Then he said quietly, "Because I've run from too many things in my life. Maybe it's time I stop running." The ship dove into the thickest part of the drift. Rocks flew by like giant bullets. One scraped the top of the hull. The hunter ships slowed. They couldn't follow without risk. Liam smiled. "Gotcha." But just as he turned to speak to Alira, a strange sound echoed through the ship. A soft chime, then a voice. It was not human. "Union protocol initiated. Genetic scan complete. Compatibility confirmed." Liam froze. Alira's eyes widened in panic. "What was that?" Liam asked. She stumbled forward. No. It's too soon." The ship's air, never programmed for anything alien, was now glowing with strange lights. Symbols appeared on the screen, moving fast. The words "marriage bond in puro juristas" flashed in multiple languages. "Explain," Liam demanded. Alira pressed her hand against her chest. "When I begged you, when I touched you, and you helped me, it triggered the right. I didn't agree to anything." Liam shouted. "It doesn't need words," she said. "Our laws are written in blood and choice. You chose to save me. You chose to protect me. The old system sees that as consent." He stepped back, his heart pounding. "So what now? I'm married." "Not yet. But we are. Linked. Your DNA has been marked." Liam looked down at his hand. Tiny golden lines shimmered under the skin, slowly fading. "Fantastic," he muttered. Alira sat down, her legs weak. "You should hate me." "I don't know what I feel yet," he said honestly. "But I do know they're still out there." She nodded. "They won't stop. Then we find a place to hide." "There's one," she said, "below the drift. An ancient place. My mother once took me there. No one dares go." He changed course, flying deeper into the asteroid field. The scanner showed a dark hole at the bottom, almost invisible. As they descended, the light faded. The rocks parted, revealing the hidden cavern in the middle of space, surrounded by stillness. He maneuvered the ship carefully into the black tunnel. Inside, strange glowing roots wrapped around stone walls. The temperature dropped. Alira touched the glass. "We're here. What is this place?" She turned to him. "A tomb." The ship landed, and for a moment, everything was silent again. But deep inside the tomb, something ancient stirred, and the bond between human and alien had only just begun. The darkness inside the ancient cavern swallowed everything, including time. The glowing roots outside the ship pulsed gently, casting soft green light across the hull like a heartbeat buried in stone. Inside the Odysseus, silence pressed against the walls. Even the hum of the engines seemed to retreat, as if the ship itself dared not disturb this place. Liam sat quietly in the cockpit, his hands hovering above the controls, unsure whether to shut the ship down or keep it ready. Part of him still expected the alien hunters to burst through the rocks and finish what they'd started. But hours passed. Nothing came. Behind him, Alira lay stretched out across the medical bed. Her breathing was more stable now. The autodoc had sealed most of her wounds, but exhaustion lingered in every inch of her body. She had stopped glowing. Her silver hair, spread across the white pillow, looked almost human under the dim lights. Liam watched her for a long time. He didn't know why. Maybe it was the way she fought to stay alive. Maybe it was the desperation in her voice when she said his name. Maybe it was the way she looked at him like he was more than just a human pilot in the wrong place at the wrong time. He leaned back in the pilot's chair and exhaled slowly. He wasn't used to this kind of quiet. The past few years of his life had been one job after another. No attachments, no home. Just stars and silence. Now there was a woman in his ship, an alien princess with a broken body, glowing skin, and a strange law that had somehow tied them together. And she wanted to marry him. It sounded insane even now. Suddenly, her voice broke the silence. "You should not have followed me here." Liam turned. She was awake, her eyes open, staring at the ceiling. "You said this place was safe," he said. "It is for now. But it is not a place of peace. This is a place of judgment." Liam stood and walked over slowly. "What does that mean?" Alira sat up, wincing. Her body was still stiff. "This tomb is not a tomb for the dead. It is a prison for the forgotten. A sanctuary for traitors, rebels, and ghosts." She touched the wall beside her. Her fingers pressed against the metal, and it responded. A soft light bloomed across the surface. Images floated in the air, ghostly figures in long robes, alien warriors, humans in old suits of armor, a history lost to time. "My ancestors built this place during the First Union War," she said, "before your people even knew our name." Liam stepped closer to the images. One of them caught his attention. A tall figure, clearly human, stood beside a glowing woman who looked very much like Alira. They were holding hands. Behind them, 1,000 soldiers stood still like statues. That's a human," Liam whispered. "Yes," Alira said softly. "He was called Darren Voss, a human warrior who fell in love with a Sirith queen. He died here, in this tomb, defending her from her own people." Liam stared at the image. Why would they come here? Because the galaxy didn't want their love, just like it doesn't want ours. Liam turned to her. "There is no love between us. You asked me to marry you to escape a death sentence." Alira looked at him with unreadable eyes. "And yet you came. You stayed. You saved me." He didn't have an answer for that. The images faded as Alira lowered her hand. "We are safe for now," she said, "but the trackers will find us soon. This place is shielded, but not forever." Liam walked toward the back of the ship, pacing. "So what's the plan?" "We hide until they leave. Wait until you heal, and then run again." "No," she said. "There is something here. Something my mother left for me. A message. A map. I don't know, but I have to find it." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Great. More secrets." "She couldn't trust anyone," Alira said. "Not even me. Not until I chose my own path. That's why she brought me here as a child. She said, when your blood burns for freedom, come back to the grave of the past." She stood up slowly, her legs trembling. Liam moved forward to help her, but she waved him off. "I can walk," she said. He nodded and opened the ship's hatch. The cave was massive. It stretched far beyond what the eye could see, its walls lined with alien carvings and vines that glowed faintly. Strange statues stood between the roots, half human, half Sirith, their faces carved with emotion and pain. This was no ordinary tomb. They walked together, slowly, the echo of their steps the only sound. Alira stopped in front of a stone door. It had no handle, no hinges, just a circular indentation in the center. "I don't know how to open it," she whispered. Liam stepped forward and touched the stone. Nothing happened. Alira stepped beside him and pressed her palm into the circle. The thin line of golden light pulsed outward, then faded. "Still not enough," she said, biting her lip. "I need more strength." Liam looked at her, then back at the door. What if we both touch it? She looked surprised, but nodded. They pressed their hands side by side into the circle. Nothing happened at first. Then the stone shuddered. A pulse shot through their arms, and for a second, Liam saw something. Alira's memories. Flashes of her childhood, her mother holding her hand, stars exploding in the sky, her running through palace halls, crying. He saw her fear, her loneliness, her anger. Then the door opened. A narrow hallway stretched ahead, lit by soft blue crystals. They stepped inside. At the end of the corridor stood a pedestal. On it, a box. Alira walked forward and opened it. Inside was a crystal, small, purple, and warm. She held it up. This is what she left. Liam stepped closer. What is it? Alira's voice was steady now. A key to something greater. Suddenly, the walls trembled. The ground shook beneath their feet. Liam reached for his weapon. What now? They found us, Alira said. We have to leave. They ran back through the corridor, the tomb shivering like it was alive. Dust fell from the ceiling. Statues cracked. By the time they reached the ship, red lights flashed on the radar. Enemy ships. They were descending. Liam turned to her. What happens if we escape with that thing? Alira looked at the crystal, then at him. Then we stop running. The engines roared to life. The hunt was not over, but the game had changed. The Odysseus burst out of the cavern like a silver flame breaking free of the stone's cold grip. Behind it, the asteroid tomb trembled, its glowing roots collapsing as ancient dust filled the void. Liam gritted his teeth, pulling the ship upward through the narrow channel of rocks. Crashes echoed across the hull as debris slammed into the shielding. He didn't care. All that mattered was getting Alira and the crystal out of there. She clutched the small purple gem tightly in her hands. It pulsed like it had its own heartbeat. Her skin glowed softly in response, and her breathing grew steadier with every pulse. She said nothing as the ship twisted and jerked through the asteroid field. But her silence spoke louder than words. She was afraid, not just of being caught, but of what was coming next. The enemy ships were waiting above the field. 3 of them, sleek and dark, like shadows born from metal, each bristled with weapons. They didn't fire right away. Instead, they hovered, watching, waiting. Liam stopped just outside the final edge of the asteroid drift, and hovered as well. They're not shooting, he muttered, watching the blinking red lights on his radar. Why aren't they shooting? They know what I carry now, Alira said, standing slowly beside him. That crystal isn't just a memory. It's a signal, a key to the royal archive hidden in the outer rings. Only the heir can access it. Now they want it. Great, Liam said bitterly. So now I'm married to a princess and carrying a galactic bomb in my ship. You said yes with your actions, she said, almost playfully. I said yes to saving your life, not starting a war. Alira looked at him, her eyes softening. Sometimes, saving one life does start a war, but it also ends one. Liam didn't respond. His mind was racing. The enemy ships were still motionless, like vultures circling a dying beast. His fuel was low. The ship had taken damage. They couldn't survive a direct attack. Suddenly, one of the enemy ships sent a transmission. A cold voice echoed through the cockpit speakers. This is Commander Revok of the Dominion Order. Turn over the fugitive and the crystal, and you will be spared. Resist, and you will be destroyed. Alira's face froze at the name. Revok, she whispered. He was one of my mother's guards. He turned on her when she refused to surrender her throne. Liam leaned into the microphone. This is a human vessel. Under Earth space law, I have full authority to protect any passenger on board. You fire on me, and you risk war with the Terran Alliance. There was a pause. Then laughter. Cold. Mocking. The Terran Alliance is too far to save you now, human. This sky belongs to us. The transmission cut. Liam sat back, his heart pounding. "They're going to attack," he said. Alira nodded. "Unless." "Unless what?" She took a deep breath and reached for the small control panel beside his chair. "What are you doing?" he asked. "I'm showing them that the bond has been activated," she said. "They will scan my pulse. If the rite has started, it becomes a religious matter, and even Revik cannot violate that openly." She pressed her glowing palm against the sensor. A symbol appeared on the screen, a golden circle surrounded by silver flame. It pulsed once, twice, then disappeared. A new signal flared across the radar. The enemy ships paused. Liam glanced out the window. "They're backing away." "For now," Alira said. "The rite of flame cannot be ignored, even by those who hate it. If they destroy us while the bond is active, they risk a holy rebellion from the outer clans." Liam's eyes narrowed. "So we're safe?" "No," she said. "They won't attack us, but they'll follow us. And they'll wait." "For what?" "For the bond to break." Liam sighed and turned the ship toward deep space. "Then we better make this marriage look real," he said. Alira's eyes twinkled for a brief second, and then she turned away. They traveled in silence for hours. The edge of the galaxy was near, where stars became fewer and gravity less forgiving. Alira spent most of the journey studying the crystal, holding it close to her chest like it was a part of her soul. Liam watched her from time to time, still unsure what to make of her. Finally, she spoke. "There's something else," she said quietly. "I haven't told you." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Of course there is." She turned to him. "My mother didn't just hide a key. She hid memories. Mine. And hers. Inside that crystal. It can only be unlocked if I'm bonded." "With me?" "Yes. Only your DNA can complete the sequence. It was programmed that way." Liam leaned forward, frustrated. "So now I'm not just a fake husband. I'm also your password." "I'm sorry," she said softly. "But this was the only way. My mother knew I'd never accept an arranged future. She told me, 'Find someone who will fight beside you, not for you.' I think she hoped that someone would be you." Liam stared at her, unsure what to feel. "I don't even know you," he said. "You know enough," she replied. "You saved me. That's more than most would do." They'd reached the outer rings. Floating debris, old satellite husks, broken ships, and forgotten battle relics hung in the blackness like ghosts of war. At the center, a silent station spun slowly, a forgotten piece of royal architecture, hidden from the galaxy's view. They docked with caution. Inside, the air was still, cold, silent. Alira led the way, holding the crystal like a torch. The walls lit up as she passed, responding to her bloodline. Statues bowed. Doors opened. At last, they came to a massive chamber, its ceiling lost in darkness. In the center, an ancient console. Alira placed the crystal into the core. Nothing happened. She turned to Liam. "I need your hand." He hesitated, then gave it to her. She placed his palm beside the crystal. A shock ran through both of them. Lights exploded across the chamber. Dozens of holograms came alive. Images of Alira as a child, her mother smiling, a war council shouting, ships burning, stars dying, peace treaties shattering. And then, a voice. Her mother's. "If you are hearing this, Alira, then you have found someone brave enough to stand beside you, someone worthy of the bond. I pray it is not too late." Liam looked at Alira. Tears fell silently from her eyes. But behind them, something else began to rise. Fire. And purpose. The chamber pulsed with ancient energy, the glowing memories swirling around Alira and Liam like living ghosts. Each hologram flickered with the weight of history, her mother's voice echoing between the crystal-lit walls, both gentle and powerful. Her words were like fire and silk, wrapping themselves around the moment. Alira stood still, her silver hair glinting under the light of the floating projections. Liam glanced at her, unsure if he should speak, unsure if this was something sacred he had no right to interrupt. Then her mother's voice grew softer, more personal. "Alira," it said, "I raised you to be strong, but I never wanted you to carry the throne alone. If this message has reached you, it means the world has already tried to break you. But remember this, bonding with one who chooses you freely is the only power the Dominion cannot control. A chosen partner is your shield, your sword, and your anchor." Liam's jaw tightened slightly. The words landed heavily. He hadn't chosen anything freely, had he? The hologram faded. Only the sound of the station's quiet hum remained. Alira turned to face him. Her expression was unreadable, her glowing eyes fixed on his. For a moment, Liam saw something vulnerable behind her calm. Fear, maybe, or doubt. He wasn't sure which. Then she whispered, "We need to leave. Now." Liam blinked. "What? Why?" She looked past him, toward the ceiling of the chamber. "They're here," she said. "Revek has tracked the signal. I thought the crystal's pulse would be hidden inside the station, but I was wrong." As if summoned by her words, the floor trembled beneath their feet. A faint rumble, low and deep, rolled through the walls like a warning drum. Liam ran toward the console. "Can we shut the system down? Hide it?" Alira shook her head. "If we shut it off now, the data might be lost. My mother's memories, her plans, everything could be deleted forever." Another tremor, this time louder. Liam cursed under his breath. "So we run." "No," Alira said. "We fight." He stared at her. "Fight? You're still weak." Her posture straightened. "I was weak before, but the bond, the right, and you, they've started something inside me. Something I thought was gone." The chamber doors burst open. Sparks flew. A squad of armored soldiers stepped through the archway. 8 of them, weapons drawn, helmets sealed. Their armor bore the mark of the Dominion, dark silver with a blood-red insignia across the chest. Liam pulled out his blaster, but Alira raised her hand. "Wait." The soldiers froze. Then, from behind them, came the slow, steady steps of Commander Revek. Tall, cold, calculated. His armor was black and jagged, his helmet shaped like a bird of prey. When he removed it, his skin shimmered a dull gray, his eyes sharp and merciless. "You've grown," he said to Alira, his voice a low snarl. "But not enough." Alira stepped forward, her chin lifted. "You betrayed my mother." Revek smiled. "She betrayed the Dominion by choosing peace. She chose truth. She chose weakness." He stepped closer. "Now give me the crystal. And the human. Your little fantasy ends here." Liam raised his blaster. "You'll have to go through me first." Revek laughed. "That won't be difficult." But the moment his soldiers moved, the chamber responded. The ancient symbols on the walls flared with bright light. Energy surged through the air. The station, designed to protect its queen and her heir, was waking up. Alira turned and shouted, "Liam, the left panel. Push it." He jumped toward the wall and slammed his palm on the panel she pointed to. A burst of golden energy exploded across the chamber, throwing the soldiers backward like ragdolls. Revek staggered, shielding his eyes. Alira held the crystal high. "You are trespassing on royal ground," she said, her voice echoing unnaturally. "And by sacred law, I now claim this station as sovereign queen." Liam stared. Her eyes had turned pure white. Her skin glowed brighter than ever. The crystal in her hand lifted on its own, floating above her palm. The Dominion soldiers hesitated. Even Revek paused. The station's lights shifted color, no longer just gold, but blue, violet, silver. A shield formed around Alira and Liam, pulsing like a living thing. Then a voice rang out, not her mother's, but something older, mechanical, and godlike. "Royal claim verified." Defense protocol activated. The floor opened beneath the invaders. Soldiers screamed as they fell through trap doors into the dark. Revek leaped aside just in time. But the shock gave Liam and Alira the chance to run. They sprinted through the corridor, alarms now flashing, walls shifting behind them to seal the way. Back to the ship, Liam shouted. They ran through the airlock just as the station began to shudder violently. Inside the Odysseus, Liam launched them into space. The station's outer walls cracked open, releasing waves of light into the dark. Revek's ship peeled away, but not fast enough to catch them. Inside the cockpit, Liam collapsed into his seat, breathing hard. Alira sat beside him, silent, watching the fading lights behind them. Then she said softly, "The memories. They weren't just my mother's. They were mine too. Memories they erased, from when I was young." Liam looked at her. "What did you see?" Alira's eyes shimmered. "A prophecy, one I was never meant to remember." He leaned forward. "Tell me." She looked at him, and for the first time, there was no fear in her gaze, only truth. There was a time when Sirith and humans stood together, long before the war. But peace was broken, and a bond was lost. Now they believe that bond can only be repaired when a Sirith royal chooses a human not by order, but by love. Liam's voice was dry. "So, I'm supposed to save your people by pretending to be your husband?" "No," she whispered. "You already did. The moment you chose me without knowing why." He didn't know what to say to that. But deep inside, something in him stirred. Not duty, not logic. Something real and dangerous. Because in that moment, Liam knew the war wasn't just between kingdoms and ships. It was between what was forced and what was freely chosen. The stars outside the cockpit were cold and quiet. Liam had never known a silence like this, the kind that came not from the lack of sound, but from the weight of everything unspoken. The ship cruised gently through a forgotten stretch of space, far beyond Dominion control, deeper than any Terran patrol they charted. In this place, laws didn't matter. Neither did titles, but the bond between him and Alira did. She sat at the edge of the ship's medbay now, wrapped in one of his old flight jackets, staring at the purple crystal. Her silver hair had begun to fall freely over her shoulders. The glow in her skin had dimmed slightly, but her eyes burned with a new kind of fire. They hadn't spoken much since they escaped the royal station. The memories they had both witnessed, the voice of her mother, the betrayal, the prophecy, had changed something between them. Liam no longer saw her as just a fugitive. She was something far more dangerous. She was a truth the galaxy wasn't ready to hear. He walked in quietly, carrying 2 metal cups of hot brew. Alira looked up as he offered her one. "What is it?" she asked, eyeing the contents suspiciously. "Terran ship fuel for the soul," he said with a small smirk. "Tastes like regret and burnt coffee." She took a sip, coughed. He grinned. Then the moment passed, and her face grew serious again. "I saw your memories," she said, "back in the chamber. When the bond deepened, just flashes. But enough." Liam froze mid-sip. She continued softly, "You lost someone." He said nothing for a while, then nodded slowly. "My brother. A long time ago. Dominion raid. We were just kids. I survived. He didn't." Alira stared into her cup. "I'm sorry." He shrugged. "Doesn't matter now." "It matters to me," she said. "You never told me. But you didn't have to." He didn't know how to answer that. She placed the cup down. "The bond. It's growing. Whether we want it or not." He looked at her. "You keep calling it a bond. I'm still not sure what it is." She stood and stepped closer. "It's not just marriage. Not like humans understand it. It's ancient Sirith tradition, deeper than law. When 2 beings choose each other without force or fear, their minds connect, not completely, but enough to feel each other's truth. Liam raised an eyebrow. So, you're in my head now. No, she said, her voice barely a whisper. But I feel you. I know when you're afraid, when you're angry, when you're lonely. He looked away. That scared him more than any warship. Alira touched his hand gently. And you feel me too, don't you? He nodded. He didn't want to lie. Suddenly, a loud chime rang from the cockpit. Liam rushed over. A transmission. Encrypted, but not from the Dominion. The screen flickered. A human face appeared. Older man. Bald. Military uniform. Captain Liam Harlow, the man said. This is Admiral Terence Voss of the Terran Alliance. Your ship has been flagged under urgent protocol. Liam stared. Sir, I didn't send any message. The Admiral continued. We've received intercepted Dominion data regarding your current passenger, a Sereth Royal fugitive. There's a bounty across multiple systems. We need you to surrender her immediately. Liam clenched his fists. With all due respect, Admiral, she's under my protection. And according to Section 9 of the Diplomatic Protection Act, she requested asylum. The Admiral didn't blink. The act doesn't apply in this case, not when her presence might trigger a galactic war. You are ordered to dock at Bastion Station within 36 hours. If you refuse, you will be treated as a rogue. The screen went black. Alira had been listening from behind. She stepped forward slowly. That man, Voss. He is the brother of the one they tried to force me to marry. Liam turned sharply. What? Yes, she said. They are all connected. Dominion. Earth. They fear the same thing. A bond between us could destroy their plans. If we stay together, we're dangerous. He nodded slowly, understanding now why everyone, from her people to his, wanted to separate them. We can't go to Bastion, he said. No, they'll never let me walk out alive, and they'll use you to trap me. He paced, thinking hard. Then his eyes fell on the map. There's one place, he said, a neutral world. Old mining colony. No government. No alliance. If we go there, maybe we can hide. Just long enough to figure out what to do next. Alira smiled faintly. Running again. Liam smirked. I prefer the term strategic retreat. But even as he said it, they both knew they weren't running from the enemy anymore. They were running from fate. From a galaxy that hated love forged by choice. The ship jumped into hyperspace. For a few precious moments, the stars blurred and time stretched. And in the small silence between seconds, Alira reached for Liam's hand. He didn't pull away. Because deep down, despite the chaos, despite the war, despite the danger, he knew something terrifying was growing. Not obligation, not duty. Something real. Something the galaxy couldn't control. The sky above Valerian Prime was thick with orange dust. 2 suns hovered low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the cracked earth. The planet had once been a mining colony, but now it was a graveyard of machines and broken laws. No one ruled Valerian. No empire dared claim it. It was the perfect place to disappear or die. Liam's ship landed in the ruins of an old docking port. Rusted towers leaned like old bones in the wind, and the air was filled with the scent of scorched metal. Alira stood beside him at the hatch, her silver hair pulled back, her cloak covering her glowing skin. She hadn't spoken much since the hyperspace jump, but Liam could feel something inside her shifting. The bond between them hummed like a thread of invisible light, pulling their thoughts closer, tighter, without words. They stepped onto the sand. A group of locals watched from behind broken walls. Scavengers, drifters, mercenaries. None approached. Something about the way Alira walked, regal and unafraid, kept them away. They entered a forgotten bunker hidden beneath the surface, once used by Terran smugglers. It was dark and dusty, but safe. For now. Liam dropped his bag and powered up a weak signal blocker. Alira sat silently on a metal bench. The crystal was in her lap, still glowing faintly, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. He turned toward her. "We can stay here a few days, long enough to figure out what to do next." She didn't answer. Instead, she lifted the crystal and whispered something in her native tongue. The light inside flared, then faded. The last of its energy had been used. Whatever secrets it held were now only in her memory. "I saw it all," she said quietly. "My mother's plan. The truth. The reason she bound me to the right." Liam leaned forward. "Tell me." Alira looked up, her eyes filled with sadness and clarity. "It wasn't just about me escaping a marriage, or uniting Sirith and humans. She saw a storm coming. A war not of planets, but of belief. She knew the old ways would die unless someone defied them. She believed that if even one royal chose love freely, it could ignite rebellion across systems. People would see that change as possible. And you think we're that spark?" Liam asked. "I think we already are." He sat down beside her, close enough to feel the heat of her skin. Outside, the wind howled. Inside, something more dangerous stirred. Then a sharp beeping shattered the moment. Liam turned to the console. A signal was piercing through the blocker. Encrypted. Urgent. He opened it. To his shock, it wasn't from the Dominion. It was from Bastion Station. And worse, it was from Admiral Voss. The man's face filled the small screen, eyes hard, jaw clenched. "You've pushed this far enough, Captain. You think you're protecting her, but you're only delaying the inevitable. The Dominion has declared her a rogue. Earth has agreed to an alliance, on the condition of her capture. You've been labeled a traitor. If you surrender now, I can give you a clean trial." Liam clenched his fists. "You'd betray your own blood for power." Voss's eyes flicked to Alira. "She was never meant to survive. And if you stand with her, neither will you." The screen went black. Liam slammed his fist into the wall. "They're coming." Alira stood. Then we faced them, together. Moments later, sensors flared red. 4 ships, approaching fast. Too late to run. Too late to hide. But not too late to fight. Liam activated the ship's defenses. "We can hold them off for a while, maybe force them to retreat." Alira stepped to the center of the room and removed her cloak. Her skin blazed to life. Silver and blue ancient symbols glowing from beneath her chest. Her eyes turned white again, filled with light. "I don't want to hide anymore," she said. "If this is how I die, let it be with fire." Liam stared at her, stunned. Then, without thinking, he took her hand. The bond ignited fully. The ship's systems responded instantly, panels lighting up, power surging beyond normal levels. A new energy flowed through the engines, through the shields, through the weapons. They weren't two people anymore. They were one force, one defiance. Outside, the enemy ships locked on. Lasers fired. Explosions rocked the bunker as Liam launched counterfire from the turret above. But then something unexpected happened. The Dominion ships hesitated. One by one, their systems began to shut down. A new signal appeared across the network. A single message, broadcast in both human and Sirith code. "The Boendi is complete. The right is true." Inside every Dominion ship, the crew saw a symbol, one not seen for 1,000 years. The flame and circle, the sacred mark of the chosen bond. To kill them now would be sacrilege. To defy the bond would be to defy the gods of old. And so, they withdrew, silent, shaken, retreating into the stars. Inside the bunker, Liam and Alira watched the skies clear. Then the silence returned. But it wasn't fear anymore. It was peace. Alira turned to him, tears in her glowing eyes. "You weren't just a choice, Liam. You were the change." He smiled, for once without pain. "And you weren't just a mission. You were the reason I stopped running." They stood together in the dust, beneath the twin suns, their hands still joined. And though the war was not over, a new future had begun, not built on politics or power, but on something far more dangerous: love freely chosen.